Hello and welcome. Welcome to our TV show, To the Law and to the Testimony. I'm your host and your reader for today, Brother Tim. Now, our teacher for today will be Brother Zadok. Now, the title of today's lesson it's actually a part one of a two-part series. The title is The True Identity of Israel and the Conspiracy to Replace Them. So what we like to do is go through the information here today. This is just a part one of a two-part series. So what I need you to do right now is open up your Bibles. You know, like we always say, get your pen and paper, and we're about to go through these things and get some understanding by the Most High God. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand it over to your teacher today, Brother Zadok. Brother Zadok, if you will, please.
Thank you, Brother Timothy, and welcome to all the viewers and those who have tuned in to the Law and the Testimony today. I am Brother Zadok, and we are the members of the Congregation of Israel, the Knesset of Jesus. Now, this is part one of a two-part series, and in this first part, in dealing with the identity of Israel and the conspiracy to replace them, we're going to deal with the identity first. And this identity is going to be on physical characteristics such as color and conditions and things that were prophesied by God through his holy prophets on what would happen to the people of Israel when they obeyed his laws and commandments through the covenant they made with him, and what would happen when they disobeyed the covenant that they made with him. Now, brothers and sisters, let's be frank. There is no mistaking today from historical evidence what the true physical color of the Egyptian people were in ancient times. Even though today we do see people of Arab descent having rule over the land of Egypt, historically, we understand that these people were people of color, and we have a few pictures that we have up here on the screen that we want you to look at, and that we want you to take a look at, and we want you to look at the historical findings of paintings, statues that were found, and even clay models that were found still preserved in their full color. Here, you actually see a picture of an Egyptian priest or ruler with his headdress on, and clearly the color of his skin is what we know to be a brown, or a person of color of black. Opposite him to the left, you have the color. You have a statue of an Egyptian woman found with her headdress on, and you can clearly see that the contour of her hair is beaded in a nappy form, also with a dark or brown skin pigment color. If you look up in the top left, you also see some Egyptian soldiers in their garb and daily dress. And even though it's a faded out wall painting found in an old tomb, you can still see that they retain their dark color of their skin. If you look to the top right corner, you actually see a clay relief that was found in great condition with an Egyptian overseer on a ship leading some workers who are also workers that are from a colored descent background. So them pictures right there we just put up there to let you know and to let you see that historically all evidence points to the Egyptians being a black or dark skinned colored people. If you go to historical books like your New Unger's Bible Dictionary, if you get the dictionary and concordances written by Strong, you can go into Webster's, you can go into World Book Encyclopedia. We know that the word Egypt was even given to them by the Greeks to describe the skin color of the people. Sunburnt is what Egypt mean. And then if you actually go into the Ethiopians who were south of Egypt, they actually got their name from the Greeks Ethiop, which actually means burnt face. So when these Greeks came over across the Mediterranean, they just described, we seen some sunburnt, burnt face people. Today, do you know what Ethiopia is called? The greater part of Ethiopia? It's called Sudan. Do you know what Sudan means? Sudan actually means land of black people. That's actually what the word Sudan means, brothers and sisters. So from history until now, we have no excuses on not knowing the true identity of the people according to their physical characteristic as far as color is concerned. Now, why am I bringing up the color of Egyptians and Ethiopians? Because we want to go into the Bible here, and as we read, we're going to be reading about contact of the Israelites with Egyptians and Ethiopians. So let's go right into it. Genesis chapter 42. We're going to start reading at verse 3. Get your pen and your pad and follow along. I'm going to move kind of rapidly, but yet not too fast where I can't explain what I'm doing. I have about about 25 minutes to tell you what I have to tell you. And so don't just put all your eggs in this television presentation, but let this be an introduction to what we're dealing with, and our number, our website, our address, all of these things will appear on the screen from time to time so that you can contact us and you can order and get lessons or you could come and deal with us personally and get a much more in detailed thing, because what I'm gonna do here in this 2-part series is gonna be an hour on television altogether, but it's actually a 3 to 5 hour presentation if we was dealing in person. So you won't have all the information here, remember that, but you're gonna have enough to give you an idea of where we're going with this. Genesis 42, start reading at verse 3 when you got it, Brother Tim.
And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob, sent not with his brethren, for he said, lest peradventure mischief befall him.
Now, if anyone is biblically educated, and if you're a Christian or things of that nature, you have had to heard the story of one of the patriarchs of Israel, Joseph, one of the fathers of the 12 tribes, and you had to have heard his story of how his brothers were jealous of him. He eventually got sold into slavery, and through all of this, he wound up becoming governor, second in command in Egypt next to Pharaoh. So now we're in the middle of Joseph's story. There's a famine. They haven't seen their brother in about 20 years. They've been thought he was dead anyway. So they're coming to Egypt, sent by their father to buy food and corn in the land of Egypt. And Joseph is there, but they don't know who Joseph is. I wonder why. Continue, please.
And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was a governor over the land, and he it was that sold all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth.
Continue.
And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but they made himself strange, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly to them.
Okay, skip down to verse 8.
Verse 8. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him.
Now they come into the land of Egypt to buy corn. Joseph is governor. Last time they saw Joseph, Joseph was a 17-year-old boy. This is 20 years later, brothers and sisters. Joseph is almost 40 years old. He looks like an Egyptian because he is actually the second in command in the land. Read the story on your own time and find out how he got that position given to him by Pharaoh. Now, brothers and sisters, if you actually look at it, even though the brothers thought he was dead, okay, he's not dead. Why is it that they did not recognize what their brother looked like? Why didn't they know that was him? Because Joseph looked just like an Egyptian official. He was up there. He was a man of color. He was a black man like any, he was a black man like any other official there. And he was sitting up there in power. He didn't even speak to him in Hebrew. He spoke to him roughly by an interpreter. And it said that he knew who they were, but they did not know who he was. Why didn't they know who he was? If Joseph was white, as we are led to believe that the Jews are, then why was it that this white Jew did not just, in ancient times, just did not stick out as one of the head men in Egypt to these brothers? They would have easily been able to have been like, hold on, this man white like us. Brothers and sisters, we dealing with a people in a land of color. These are all people of color. The Hebrews are a people of color just like the Egyptians and the Ethiopians were. But we're going to continue and we're going to go further. Joseph is now going to reveal himself to his brethren. Let's go over to Genesis chapter 45. Go over to chapter 45, and when you get to chapter 45, brother, we're going to start reading at verse 1. When you get there, you can go ahead and start.
Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all of them that stood by him, and he cried, "'Cause every man to go out from me." And and there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known to his brethren.
So now Joseph is about to, 3 chapters later, he's going to reveal himself unto his brethren. Brothers and sisters, they don't know who this man is. If you read chapters 42, 43, 44, he put them through all these trials. All these things was happening to him, and it was coincidental. They noticed some things that stood out to them because Joseph was doing it to see if they would catch on, but they couldn't put 2 and 2 together. Like one time he brought them all in and had them sit at dinner with him in the end of chapter 44. This is when you come into 45, and he just tell everybody to get out the house, and it's just him and his brothers there. He had them sit at a table to eat